Welcome back to Cheche. We're live on Citizen TV discussing the deadlock around the IEBC. Should the commissioners stay or should they go? If you've been watching the show, you will know that they're very strong positions from Court. Court wants them to go. The senator from Kiambu has been arguing about Court's methods. And so the question I'll ask you, Senator Wetangula, is in everything that we see Court doing, we don't quite see any logical conclusion. So that in the parliamentary process, you talk about the petition from one Mr. Wafula Buke, but no one from your ranks has brought forward a petition. When we talk about the signatures from the IEBC, we do not hear any conversation with the IEBC about whether you should top up the signatures. And so what we see to some extent is no exhaustion of your options, but then resorting to extreme measures.
I don't understand you, Udwak, because the petition that Buke took to Parliament,
you've talked about
I've talked about it, yes. And it was concluded.
No, we've
and we as Court leaders didn't have to personally be there. This man works within our rank and file of the Court leadership. He represented the feelings and the opinions of the coalition. It died, so you can't say there was no conclusion. It was killed. Number two,
Sakaja yesterday said that was not a Kokwa.
Whatever Sakaja said is not the gospel truth. I'm saying what I'm saying. On Okoa, Kenya, we took the process as required under the Constitution. Collected signatures, campaigned around the country. In the process, we were also seeking dialogue, because we are fully aware that a confrontation is not going to help this country. We sought dialogue, it was dismissed. One top leader in the country said, we sisi ni kelele ya chura, we were making noise, very insolent, very obstinate, very intransigent. We went and took the signatures to IEBC, instigated by what I have already told you from Jubilee leaders. IEBC never even distanced itself from what they said. They did exactly what they said they were going to do. It is gone. The Constitution provides for how to reignite a new process. In the meantime, the clock is ticking. We can't now go back and say, let's collect new signatures, let's top up signatures, let's have 90 days, let's have this. We still have a political card to play. And our political card is to bring sanity in the minds of this obstinate and intransigent Jubilee leadership and tell them, look, you can dig in as hard as you can, but sometimes digging in only makes a bad situation worse.
Okay.
And at some point, you'll have to sit down and talk to us, because we're willing to talk to you.
Okay.
And at some point, you realize that if you want to create a situation where Kenya becomes a pariah state, it's entirely up to you. Because the credibility of any election is not about what happens on polling day. I can give you the example of Zimbabwe.
Okay. So
where on polling day you can hear a pin drop.
Thank you.
But what has been done before you reach there?
Thank you. This is what our viewers are saying.
Yes.
Wilfred Obonyo, why can't they be like the Chief Justice? Because we all know that the Chief Justice chose to resign early, yes, in order to get ready for the election. Peter Santoni, let them go. The Court of Public Opinion has rejected them. Cecilia, a big go. Ibrahim, IEBC commissioners must go. Generally, Jose, as a good Kenyan, IEBC commissioners have to go.
And remember, Charles Nyachai today also said, and
yes,
we respect him, he said they must go.
Okay. Yes. So the balance of views, as I've been saying, is that the IEBC commissioners should go. What people are disagreeing with is the methods that CORD is using. But let me ask you this, Senator Wamatangi. We keep hearing about this tyranny of numbers. You've talked about the constitutional process. If CORD, because we're trying to find a way out of this deadlock, if CORD were to say they will try again and bring forward a petition seeking the removal of the IEBC Commission, yes, would we see Jubilee saying, yes, we agree that this is a constitutional, we have a problem on our hands and we need to get an IEBC that everyone trusts?
Udwak, quickly, two issues. One, the decision is precisely what you have said, that should the commissioners go or not go. Now, what we know as the way forward is, one, that if that process is followed, like you have said, a petition is brought against the conduct of those commissioners. It arrives through the agreed channels of respecting the law. It is debated. The question of tyranny of numbers has no place in this argument. I'll tell you why. Because our law envisages even times when Parliament acts against public interest, and there is a remedy to that. We know of cases in point whereby matters have been taken to court where Parliament has pronounced itself wrongly, and those decisions have been reversed, put on stay, or even rescinded by the courts. So if the truth would be told by our colleagues in court, if indeed the intention is to have the IEBC commissioners going, there is no reason why they would not go through using the law, because if they follow, the question was the tyranny of numbers. Yes, can CORD expect support from Jubilee, a Jubilee that says there is a problem with the IEBC? That is the question I'm answering by saying this, that if that petition comes, it finds either all those members of Parliament who are there, whether they are many, they are few, whether tyranny, if it comes as they're petitioning now, and it finds us, we'll vote on it on merit, on the issue that they have brought. If indeed it is merit-worthy that those commissioners should go,
and that's a good question from
let me finish. If indeed we find that they should go, we'll vote them to go. If there are issues, we'll raise those issues. And at that time, that's the point I want to make for Kenyans to understand, that the doors are not closed to CORD as they may want the public to believe. Even if there was that tyranny of numbers, and that tyranny of numbers defeated that, if that was defeated in Parliament, then it can even be reverted to the court, and they will say absolutely that was wrong. But lastly, the way not to go is what Senator Wetangula is saying for this country. The Egypt way, the Tahrir Square way, the Shah of Iran way, that is not the way to go. The way to go for this country is to follow the law.
Would you answer the question? Sorry, I'm out of time.
Yes.
Would you answer the question? Can we see that sort of petition originate from Jubilee ranks?
Right now, the agitators, the owners, the people who have asked for this dialogue is CORD. They have to walk their talk. They have to prove the merit of the argument. They have to show us that indeed what we have been saying is not pure or simple politicking. It has been truthful
and very
agitation for a good cause.
And very quickly,
have to own it.
Do you not see it as being in your own interest as Jubilee, as competitors, to win in a fair and credible
Absolutely, we agree.
contest?
I would work, we agree. And I want to remind you very quickly on this. When Jubilee came to office, actually we were disadvantaged by the IEBC being there. The people who were advantaged at that time during the 2013 elections was CORD. CORD principals are the ones who had put IEBC where they were. When we came to this election, we were strangers. We were strangers to the IEBC. So we have no umbilical cord tying us to IEBC. They can go, they can say what we have been standing for is what we voted for in the law, in the constitution. That we cannot throw the law under the bus because CORD feels it is so urgent that they need to prosecute a political
as your final statement. But I'll come to the panelists very quickly, and then Senator, I'll give you the last word.
Sure.
And we're trying to navigate a way out of this deadlock. David, with your unique positioning, and Mutegi, do you see any way out of this?
Yeah, I can see a way, because if there are two moves. First, the letter from the Prime Minister or former Prime Minister to the President. I think if it is received positively, it can constitute some dialogue. The same move by members of Parliament, the senators and the committees that are, although you dismiss them, but there's also a route to take, that they now, if they talk in Parliament elevated to the big men, then it can work. And I think that's the only way.
David?
My view is, I share with what Mutegi is saying. I think, first of all, I believe that should have been the earlier route. This required some statesmanship between the leadership, political leadership of the country. This requires a political settlement, not a legal approach. Because if they take the legal approach of, proving incompetence or, all those things required under the Constitution, I doubt, from where I sit, that they'll meet the threshold. So, but there is appreciation that there's confidence issues, there's reputational issues at stake, and the commission therefore has a lot of work to do if it's to remain. But my final thing about that is that I think even the crafters of the constitution did not intend that one commission carries out 2 elections. Hence, and the legislation that gives them a security of tenure of 6 years. And I think these are things which need to be brought into the law so that one commission can conduct 1 election and exit in good time before the next election. So it does not carry the baggage of the previous election or get into the other one with accusations such as we have.
That was not part of their core campaign.
Thank you, Udwak. Mine is to conclude like this. We have a country, we have a future. The statesmanship lies with all of us, but more importantly, the head of state, the president. If the president wants to bring sanity and silence and acceptable processes to the country, it's entirely within his capacity. We are asking him to step down the ladder and talk to the alternative voices for the interests of this country. It's always good to enjoy the trappings of the status quo, but it's always dangerous to think that the status quo can last forever. We want a peaceful country. We want a country that has a confidence in itself, in its people, and a country where everything we do has a sensible and reasonable degree of satisfaction and acceptability by those involved, including elections, because it is the single most important event in the calendar of this country, because it gives the country who their leaders should be. And the process should be beyond any question, any reproach.
Can we see as a sign of good faith, CORD, revisiting the parliamentary route?
The parliamentary route is there. We have no difficulty with it, but like I said, there is difficulty on our part to believe that it will yield the desired results unless it's enjoying support from the very top of Jubilee. We know how we can handle our parliamentarians, and it is so simple, and we have said this before, even in the letters that we have written to the President. Mr. President and your team, at our level we can negotiate. Let's sit and agree that yes, it's important to deal with issues, and let's have others advise us on what to do. We are ready for that. Anytime, anywhere.
Okay, so our time is up, and we thank you for your time on Cheche this morning. Today's guests were the Bungoma Senator and CORD Principal, Moses Wetangula. We've also had the Kiambu Senator, Kimani Wamatangi. We've had the input of our resident panel, David Makali and Mutegi Njau, and we thank you for watching and engaging with us here on Cheche. We've been live on Citizen TV. My name is Udwa Kamimo. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.